I was thinking about this. Chat, tell me. What card game has added a class? Go. Just tell me one. I'm trying to think of one, and I can't think of the ones that I've played. I can't think of one. Tavern Brawl, my card reveal. An honor to do this. Thanks so much, CDPR for giving me the opportunity to reveal a card. I think it's just really special to be involved in the community. And I just want to say that this is a pretty cool card. We have a 7 provision point crime card that forces 2 adjacent enemies to duel each other. So much like Your Breath Meditation, this card will have a lot of applications if you're able to control the opponent's side of the board. Not really sure how much Syndicate will have to do that, but I will say that in the mirror, this card's going to just obliterate Sucrus, I think, or at least obliterate a strategy that would be focused around Sucrus. And as far as Intimidate goes, this could be just an excellent card. I think that there is a lot of special cards that are looking like they could have a lot of unique applications, which could make for a really cool Shoop deck or a really cool low unit deck. I know that's a dirty concept or like a dirty word, but I think that this is very clearly with Intimidate and the amount of interesting crimes there are. I think that this is going to end up being a special card focused faction. And I think that's going to be good for the scoia'tael cross-faction stuff. And I think that this card is just going to be one of many interesting additions to the faction that comes with kind of just dealing with your opponent without playing anything yourself, right? I think that that's going to be sort of the unassuming criminal version, Intimidate type deck that we're going to be seeing in a deck that might be running Tavern Brawl. So it's going to be interesting to see how this stuff works. But, you know, Nilfgaard has their interesting tactics, like treason and such, and you know, it looks like Syndicate's going to have their interesting crimes with Tavern Brawl. Thanks again for the reveal. Let's keep reviewing these cards. We'll start chronologically from the oldest one. Cool thing about this card, somebody on Reddit called, what is this? This is the Eternal Fire Speaker, I believe. So I believe somebody on Reddit pointed out that this is actually the guy who's narrating the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt intro. So this guy is a 4 provision point, 2 strength unit who you profit 2 when you play him, and he immediately can be spent to spawn a Firesworn Zealot on the row with a cooldown of 1. So yesterday we were talking about fees and can you spend them for as many coins as you have, or is there a limit? Well, this guy has a cooldown. You cannot spend all your money on him, unlike the Tide Jackal, or the Sea Jackal, sorry, where it looks like you can just dump all your coins in it and have a 4 provision point win condition. What do you guys think about, now that we've had a day to think about Sea Jackal, am I crazy? Sea Jackal seems good. This 4 provision point card seems much more in line with what I would imagine for a 4P card. But this card is an engine. As much as you have coins, it is an engine. As much as you have like a way to recharge it, it's an engine. But he's weak. He's probably going to die, but he is going to spawn a Zealot. So if you need to spawn lots of Zealots for your Firesworn deck, this might be one of your considerations for the 4P slot. Because he has profit, you're not going to want to portal him out, but you could play him with portal, I suppose, because all these fee spenders are about onboard stuff. So consider that, if you will. The Temple Guard, Northern Realms faction ambassador reporting for duty. We have a Northern Realms dual faction card. This is interesting, and it's a good flavor too, because this guy is clearly Eternal Fire. So it looks like Eternal Fire, Northern Realms and Eternal Fire, they're sharing an aspect. So it looks like Hebelfart is sort of like the Whisperer to the Northern Realms. We've got the Temple Guard, 4 provisions for a 2 strength unit. Deploy on the melee row only. Boost 3 adjacent allies by 1. I would imagine that you can target yourself. It can target itself, right? If you want to play Germain, actually any deck that plays Germain, Syndicate or Northern Realms, either one, totally runs this card. This card is amazing if you play Germain. If you have a strategy based around Germain, this is your new 4 provision point powerhouse. This is like if you want to run Vandergrift's Blade, Sintra Knight is your 4P powerhouse that probably won't see play anywhere else. But the cool thing about 4P is that you can kind of switch it out. So you run this guy, now maybe you want to run Scytheman, maybe you want to run Visigurd. You know, there's just cool considerations. And of course, boosting adjacent units matters to the Firesworn Swarm mechanic. So this guy should get value, but he still is only getting 5. So I think you're more likely perhaps to see this card in a Northern Realms deck than you are in a Syndicate deck, because it seems like 5 for 4 for the Syndicate is below rate. They have a lot of good 4P cards. So I think Northern Realms might play this card off and on. I don't know if the Syndicate will, though. We'll see. We'll see. You can't target yourself, but you can boost yourself. Oh, well, that makes it fine. It's probably okay. It just seems like the 4P cards are like pretty good. Is my card on here already? Oh, it's there. M-Class, thanks, man. But it was made by Betraying Chino, so shout out to Betraying Chino, because if you wanted to know who has been revealing what, you have it right here. So the Eternal Fire Disciple, which I've already revealed, that's Spiro. The Temple Guard, Crozier got this one. Congregation, which I'm going to talk about, that's Konzio player, Polish player. And let's talk about Congregation. So this is a pretty interesting card. This is a 6 provision point crime. I want to say that this is a crime because they're all crimes, but this doesn't seem like a crime card, right? Having a congregation is not really a criminal thing, but I think everything they do is criminal. So let's call it an illegal dark congregation. And let's also just automatically assume that these are all crimes. 6 provision point special card. Spawn and summon 2 Firesworn Zealots on the allied row. Okay, so the translation is not 100% great in this card here. But if you have 0 coins, which means if you play this before playing anything that profits you at all, spawn 3 Firesworn Zealots instead. So this is an interesting special card. It is giving you... So Firesworn Zealot, once again, is a 2-point token. So if you play this without any coins, if you play this early, like Nilfgaardian Knight style, you want to play this like first, you get 3 bodies right away and 3 Firesworn Zealots specifically if you have any cards that care about that. Plus, it's a spawn effect, and we've already seen some cards care about spawning units. It's a special card. It's a crime, so anything that cares about special cards or crimes gets benefit from that. Plus, it's creating 3 units, so automatically it's very, very deeply facilitating your swarm strategy. So if you want to play Yennefer, if you want to play anything you love to play in Erika's Queen that swarms, you're playing that in this deck as well because it looks pretty easy to swarm. Now, I don't know if you want to play this in a low profit deck or if you want to play this in a deck that just you want to have this early. Maybe you have a tutor for your crimes and you want to tutor this out. I imagine there's a tutor for crimes because it just seems like it because of the way the tutoring works for all the other factions. I just want to say that it's probably safe to make that journey, right? We can make that leap together. So you play that tutor early and you have a benefit to play that. Plus you play the tutor early, you get 4 bodies. You play Roach as well. You have 5 bodies in 1 turn. There's got to be a benefit for that. You're playing Commander's Horn right away. I don't know. Let's just let's explore the territory that this card is giving us, my friend. Supports Swarm archetype, has an interesting condition as well. And I don't know, I like it. I got to see more about Firesworn, but I like it. We get to see more about Firesworn because all these are Firesworn cards. These cards we got to see yesterday. St. Livonia is the big boy card, right? 10 provision point faction unit. You better expect it to be good. But it's not just for the Syndicate. This is also a Northern Realms card. So once again, Faction Ambassador reporting in for duty to report another new Northern Realms card in the game of Gwent. 10 provision points, 6 strength unit. Gotta love that body. Always 6. 6 always gets my attention. A 6 is basically a 10. You know what I'm saying? When you play a unit adjacent to St. Livonia, give it a shield. Well then, isn't that a great card for Northern Realms? Isn't that a great card? It generates unlimited shields, right? Play Sucrus next to this guy. Sucrus gets the shield, if you're playing Syndicate, that is. If you're playing Northern Realms, you can't do that. But if you're playing Syndicate, you can. You play Sucrus next to this card, and now that's an expensive combo. Damn, obviously I'm not suggesting. You can, that's a more expensive combo than any shenanigans you can pull with Visigoda. But this is just a really good card. 6 on the body means that you need to use hard, strong removal. You need to use a big removal piece to deal with this guy. If you don't deal with this guy, well, a lot of engines are getting shields at that point. A lot of cards that you need to remove are getting shields at that point. And when you get shields on everything else, your removal options are much more limited as from the opponent's side. So when you are able to make engines live, then you can rely a little bit more on your strategy. So let's say we need to make Prophet Livonia live. Well, let's have Avalok help him out. So now we have backup plan to your backup plan. This being a Northern Realms dual card actually does, it just keeps pushing Demavend in just a little bit more of a playable, viable condition. If there are ways to just guarantee that there's going to be some setup that's going to be really hard for your opponent to deal with, that's going to allow your engines to live a long life. Long, comfortable life. Lebiota. Prophet. Oh, you know what? That's the thing, right? When I see these cards, I only say them to myself, and that's it. It's like people who grew up saying Magneta and not Magenta. They just can't unhear it. So let's get it here. Lebiota. Lebioda. It's Lebiota. Lebiota. Oh, it's a Harry Potter reference. I'm not going to get that. Do I look like a Harry Potter fan? Not to say that Harry Potter fans are any kind of person, but I just feel like when I look at myself in the mirror, I don't see a Harry Potter fan. It's just... Now I feel like I've insulted part of my audience by saying, do I look like a Harry Potter fan? Forgive me. So Lebiota is probably right. Lebiota. From the man that brought you Ek. Jamoni, that's how a friend would break my balls. I love that. Thank you. What is it? Because people make fun of me. I know what I'm casting. I don't see it live, but I know what I'm casting because Christina's told me. When I cast Jenga or Genja, people will call like Gengar. This guy doesn't know how to say the word. I can't remember, but whatever it is, I'm stuck saying it forever. And I'm worried that Ek is also those things because I never say ache like I'm supposed to. Like I have Kieran, right? And I have people correcting me about Saris all the time. In the game Witcher 3, do they say Saris or Karis? Because I've played Witcher 3, so I'm saying it the way I heard it. Saris with the soft C, with the sa-sa-sa. Because it's if that's how they say it, could Wales please leave me alone? Yeah, right to CD Projekt Red. Same with Ethna. I know it's Anya, but that's not it's Ethne. It's Ethne in the game, so that's how I'm going to say it. They made the decisions, not I. All right, my friends, Sacred Flame. This was the reveal from Green Cricket. This card is pretty cool. Pretty cool in the way that, like, Small Blood Totem is pretty cool, kind of. So you have, this is an artifact. Faction-specific artifact. 11 provisions on deploy. Spawn a Firesworn Zealot on both sides of this card. And whenever you spawn a unit, boosts that unit by 1. I imagine that is what it means. That it, in this situation, is referring to the unit that is being spawned and not the Firesworn Zealot, because the Firesworn Zealot is just always a 2-point card. However, the Sacred Flame does boost those 2 Firesworn Zealots that it itself spawns. So it is producing 6 strength on the board when you play this. This is a good card, right? This is a 6 strength card that, if it's not removed, brings value to the entirety of your entire deck. The strategy of your deck. This is a card worth running Caretaker for, but this is a card that has relevance on deploy, has relevance after deploy. Much like the Small Blood Totem, it's just a really cool and well-designed artifact in the kind of direction that I think artifacts should always be taking. I love this card. It's just a good card. It just plays to your whole strategy, helps you develop that strategy, helps you develop your Firesworn Zealot strategy. It helps develop your Swarm strategy by creating 2 units immediately. It's dope. It does everything that deck should want to do, in theory, right? It's expensive, yeah, but much like Small Blood Totem, it's just going to be good, right? Play this card. I think this card is going to see play. Great card. Hey, Weevil. They revealed Gudrun. Oh, sweet. This is more to reveal that I haven't even seen live yet. All right, so Weevil, speaking of Weevil, I think we have your card here too. Yeah, Weevil right on time. Internal Fire Inquisitor unit. 2 strength on the body. Deploy damage an enemy unit by 2 with a death blow. Spawn and summon a Firesworn Zealot on this row. At first glance, I'd say 5p for this card, but we've seen a lot of cards that care about spawn and multiple units, boosting units that are spawned, and being boosted when units are spawned. So there is enough going on with spawn that you probably need to price this card at 5p. I think it's totally fine 6 for 5p with a lot of extra application. This just seems like a staple card, a little bread and butter. The only reason why I don't think a card like this would see play in a spawn strategy or a Firesworn Zealot strategy is because there are other cards like the Casino Bouncers or maybe another thinning card that just takes up your deck provisions and you just can't squeeze it in over another card that you prefer to play. That's the only reason why I don't think this would see play. Otherwise, it sees play. Makes 2 bodies, removes. Good, play it, right? You don't want to play this if you're not getting the 2 bodies off of it. So it's probably a one of. Probably a one of. Eventide Plunder, as in the act of plundering. So it is a special card. It is a crime. It is a 4 provision point crime. Now, you have units that care about crimes. You want as many of them as low as possible, especially if they are as good as this one. This is a good card. I will say this now. This is a good card. Much like you would view special cards in Bran that are cards that are like, you know, I don't want to play it, but if I have to play it, it's pretty good. So it's like you would view this as Dimeridian Bomb. Again, probably a good, and when I say good, I'm saying one of, it's good. You have this as a tech against artifacts, but if there is no artifacts, you just gain the crowns. So while it could do nothing for you point-wise, it's super slow to play in round 1. You may not want it in round 1. Round 2, it's a great bleed card. If you identify the deck you're playing against, you definitely just want this card. And in round 3, we've already seen a card that involves putting a card on the bottom of your deck. If there are other cards that help you fix your hand, then you want to play one of this card for sure, because you just fix your hand, put it at the bottom of your deck, because you don't really discard it like Bran would if he doesn't need it, but you could replace it if you don't need it. So maybe there's a leader that does that as well. If there is, this card is definitely good, right? Just like how Bran is good. You have the answers when you need it. It's cheap, but I do think that it's a one of, much like the other card we just saw. You could just have a board state where it's just, you don't even care if there is an artifact coming up. It's just gaining the 3 crowns and proccing all your Intimidate engines for whatever that's worth is actually enough tempo to stay in around. Red Coin likes that stuff. I think at 4, this card could see play as a one of. That's what I'm saying. Does the deploy artifact not so great? Yeah, like this is a great, again, like much like we see Tavern Brawl sort of be a interesting response to Sucrus, we see this being an interesting response to Sacred Flame. So it's these interesting mirror responses. The faction is built in with mirror responses. You could say that Nilfgaard has some of that stuff as well, since they have like stuff that targets Nilfgaard cards. And yeah, I just think that this faction definitely has. It's almost like it knows there's going to be a lot of mirrors. So think about this card. If you think you're going to see a lot of Sacred Flame, if you want to beat the Syndicate, but you still want to play the Syndicate, you have options. I like that. The Prophet specials are non-tempo. It's true. So we've seen our dual faction cards for Northern Realms in Temple Guard and Prophet Lebioda. But now we're starting to see the pirate cards. So when we get to the scoia'tael cards or the intimidate cards or the crime cards or the cleaver cards or whatever. I don't know why I said cleaver, but I'm just thinking like big burly dwarf. I just feel like that's probably going to be the cleaver thing. I feel like we're going to see a lot of the crime stuff come together. Tycloak Highway, we got another dual card for Skellige. So this is a 5 provision point, 3 strength ship. It's important. On deploy, if this is on the ranged row, boost an ally unit by 1 for each pirate in your hand. So immediately you look at this as like a reverse Corsair. Corsair in the game, if you haven't seen it lately, and I don't blame you because it's never been meta, the Corsair is a 5 provision point, 3 strength unit that damages an enemy for the amount of ships in your hand, and he himself is a pirate. So this is the foil to Corsair in every possible way. Same strength, same provision. Instead of damages, boosts, and instead of ships, it's pirates. It's like, it's great, right? So it's almost like, the cool thing here is when you look at a card that they give to a faction that mirrors something like this. The best example here is Alba Pikeman and Reinforced Trebuchet. Reinforced Trebuchet you place on the ranged row damages a unit on the other ranged row every turn. Alba Pikeman is a melee unit that damages another unit on the melee row by 1 each turn. You look at Northern Realms and you look at Nilfgaard and be like, it's the same card. It's just on a different row. Yeah, but what if I told you could play both of those cards in both factions? Now you're like, damn, that's amazing. Or if you could play one of those cards. Anyway, the point I'm making, sorry, without getting too far away from my point, I'm saying that they've made this card for Syndicate that is very samey to the Corsair, but they gave it to Skellige too. So it's actually amazing. This card's great. And the pirate ship archetype is coming together finally. Oh, I knew the next expansion was going to be the one for pirates and ships. Gudrun's good friend and confidant, and perhaps informant, not really sure. Emka. Just call her Ike. Well, I mean, just call her Ek. Just call everything Ek. 9 provision for 5 strength on ranged. Every turn end, gain 2 coins. Damn. So the way I have seen profit being valued, I would say that this is probably pretty good card here. But the best part is, if you think that she's going to stick around, if you can protect her for just like 1 turn, you can invest. You invest in Emka. You can pay a fee of 3, just a fee for 3, says she, to gain a shield. So you can play her and you pay 3, you get 2 back with a rebate. You get the mail-in rebate. She seems like a nice girl, so she's going to give you some money back right away. And then by next turn, she's paid for herself in that way. If she lives, and you can keep her alive in a lot of ways, but you have to find the cheap ways to do it, because at 9, this is why, like, Oriana is a good card, right? Not seeing a lot of play. A deck built around her doesn't seem to have the strength required. So I think that Emka feels very much like Oriana. Very much like Oriana, but in a different way, because the coins are extremely universal. So having a coin engine may actually be extremely good. And if it is extremely good, I'm worried about how expensive she is. But at least she comes with protection, built-in protection, plus 5 points on the body. You know, I said a 6 is a 10. Well, you know, I'll still take 5 on at least 3 dates. Oh, we do have, revealed by Jason Slama himself, Gudrun. We have a leader. Does that mean we have a leader reveal video? Let's check it. All right, it is just the card, but this is what she looks like. This is what her card looks like. All right, cool. Let's reveal this. So this is the first time we've seen a leader revealed without a reveal video and getting the effect of the leader. So we can now start theorying out the decks, how they are really, this is going to be one of the best examples of how crowns are being valued, because this is a crown-based leader. What are you guys saying? Let's talk. I'm going to have a sip of water to talk to you guys before I do my cuts. To do my deep cuts. Gudrun Bjornsdottir, 15 provision point addition. So she's running the old average 165 provision cap. And her ability, which Jason Slama says, super excited, and I believe it when he says this, super excited to share with you guys a brand new creation to the Witcher universe, Gudrun Bjornsdottir Order. Excuse me. Do I edit out the pre-burp? Do I edit that out? Did you guys even hear it? My mic is good. Order. Gain 9 crowns and then boost an allied unit by any excess amount gained. So let's talk about this card. I think that this card is thematically very good for what I understand the Tide Cloaks to be all about. Hoarding gold. Hoarding crowns. So you play Gudrun, you gain 9 crowns, and then you boost an allied unit by the excess gain. So basically you can look at this 2 ways. You can look at this as order. All of your hoard cards are triggering for the rest of this round, and you're pretty much set up for the rest of the game. Is one way you can look at it. The other side of it is that you can look at this like Woodland Spirit, where you can save the order ability, play a card, and then boost it by 9. Just boost it by 9 because you already have the 9 crowns. Or you play a Sea Jackal, boost it by whatever, and then spend the rest of your crowns on the 10-point boost, which I'm like, Tide Jackal, like I see what they have. This is, okay. Tide Jackal is a card that's going to be good like all the time, every round, all the time. That card is scaring me. Good with Portal. It's just as good as a 4-point card could ever be. That's why I'm worried about it. But it does solve the problem of tempo with the cards that just profit you and don't do anything. It solves that problem, but is it doing it too well? I'm worried that it's solving that problem, but it's going to be breakable. Anyway, I do like that you can be encouraged to play this card early and to start playing Horde, or play this card late for a boost. For a single-use leader, there is a lot of flexibility on how you can play it. Generally, I am not a fan of single-use leaders that don't have some sort of passive effect, or some sort of passive effect or some sort of effect on the deck. So I probably won't be as loving this leader as I would, say, love Svalblood, Full Test, Brand, Unseen Elder, whatever. I just generally don't like single-use leaders because I always feel like I like my leader to be relevant more often. But the effect of gaining crowns actually brings a staggering amount of relevance to your round. Your first round carrying over into the second, or your second carrying over into the third, depending on how much you need to profit or how many coins you need at the beginning of the next round or during that round. And because when you play Horde cards, you're not necessarily spending the coins, you can have a lot of these cards starting around with 4 coins, which you would if you had 9. 4 is the most you can start around with. Any card that has Horde 4 that you can realistically think about playing as a leadoff card, because Horde is the Horde mechanic does not lean towards cards you are going to be playing early for big power. It more leans towards long round stuff. So the earlier you're able to hit that threshold for Horde, it is just going to be, might be able to run away with it. It's like Arnjolf and being able to have that Bloodthirst Maniac round, where you just have Bloodthirst on all of your cards and your opponent has like no way to really catch up or stop you as well. In summary, in a lot of ways, I would say that Gudrun feels like an Arnjolf's level because she offers a resource. She offers a resource for your round. She offers power in a form of boost. It's hard to evaluate right now. I think it's a dope card. Awesome stuff. Great stuff to review today so far.